Hello and welcome back to the California Club. Today I'm going to be fitting an Isotope in my California beach, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you the process. Now, the Isotope is a brilliant bit of kit from Brandrup, sold through the club shop, and it offers insulation both in the winter for keeping the pop top warm and in the summer for keeping the heat out. So the first thing I'm going to do before I fit the Isotope is I'm going to check my pop top canvas for rips and tears, and then use this product, Tear Aide, to repair them. Now, I do know unfortunately that I do have a little tear in my pop top, and this happened recently on a camping trip. The sliding door got stuck, and when I finally managed to get open, it must have been the canvas that was trapped, and it's made a small hole. So we'll be using Tear Aide. It's the type A type, suitable for tents and canvas, and it should fix that up nicely so that then we can install the Isotope and have a lovely insulated pop top. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is clean the area around the tear using the provided strips in the Tear Aide pack. Now, it's important to do this for a good inch or two around the tear. Make sure that you've cleaned more than the area you intend to patch. Then we're going to trim the patches, and it's important here to allow for at least an inch around the edge of each tear, so use a piece that's big enough, and also ensure that the corners are rounded, because this will make sure that the Tear Aide stays in place and is less likely to get caught and peel off over time. Applying the decal is relatively easy. You want to peel one corner of the patch and then fold it underneath itself. Now, once you've stuck that patch onto the canvas, slowly peel away the backing paper underneath the patch, smoothing as you go to avoid any air bubbles and to get a really nice clean finish. So there we go, we've fitted the Tear Aide. Now we can be confident that those holes and those tears are not going to get any worse. So everything you need is in the bag, but I've had a few tips from some of the California Club members, so we'll be using a couple of extra pieces. Now, it's really recommended for getting the tabs up into the roof, which you'll see shortly, to use some sort of laminated card or paper. Likewise, I've been told that you can use the new English banknotes because they're plastic, or I'm going to be using some small laminated business cards. So it should just make life a little bit easier. So first of all, I'm just wiping down all the aluminium surfaces in the pop top with a microfiber cloth. And then it's the alcohol wipe, and again I'm going around the edge where the adhesive tape is going to be adhered to, making sure that it's nice and clean. And then the final stage is the adhesion promoter. So this is a small sponge, and this makes the surface nice and tacky, ready for your hook and eye tape to be attached. And it's just a simple once round. The sponge is very small, so it won't last too long, so don't spend too much time in one spot. Once you've applied the adhesion promoter, then it's simply a case of start applying the tape. Now, the slender tape goes around the whole edge, as you see here. The thicker one is for the rear of the pop top up in the ceiling. Now, this is probably the most time consuming part, to be honest. It's relatively simple and quite therapeutic. I've cut the tape in places just to make sure it's a little easier to apply, but generally if you take your time and you've got a relatively steady hand, you won't have any trouble. Just make sure it's only adhered to the aluminium and not stuck to the canvas or the pop top. So here you see the upper. Now, this is the pack for the upper. Small dots which go in this space here, and the thicker tape goes along the main part to the right there. So simply apply those, apply the tape, and again you're almost ready to go. So we're near the end now. We've just got a couple more fixings to put in. We have to let the glue cure for 48 hours on the tape in the roof before we can attach the actual Isotope. I just thought I'd reflect at this halfway point. We've probably spent an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours inserting, and most of that time has been spent trying to decipher these instructions. They are abysmal. I can see why people get a bit intimidated by this install, but hopefully this video will show you how simple it is. It's very straightforward. There's nothing that requires any kind of serious DIY skill. It's all very simple. It's just the instructions make it seem really difficult. So we're going to let the fan cure. We're going to let the glue all cure. It's a nice warm day, which is ideal. I think Brandrup do recommend that the temperature should be at least 18 degrees C, and I think it's around 23-24 today, so we've got no problems there. So we'll come back in a couple of days and we'll fix the Isotope and we will film it then. So yeah, let's skip to 2 days time. For those Ocean and SE owners, you'll be glad to hear that you don't need a screwdriver, as the screws are only part of the beach installation. And it was at this point that I realised that it was a Torx screwdriver that I needed and not a regular one. So after a trip to my local hardware store, I set about installing the black tabs. Now my recommendation, thankfully Brandrup do provide some small double-sided sticky tabs which allow you to fit them into place before you apply the screws. Now fit the middle one first is my recommendation, and then use the actual fabric of the Isotope to measure the distance between the front tabs, and this should mean that they're perfectly positioned, and then screw them into place. The instructions do recommend using a manual screwdriver and not over tightening it, so I wouldn't recommend using a drill or anything powerful for this, but I did struggle to get the self tappers to bite into the plastic. I used a small electric screwdriver on a slow setting and the screws thankfully went straight in. So as I say, I fitted the middle, measured with the fabric, and then fitted the outer two. And believe it or not, we're almost there. There's not that much left to do. We've just got to turn our attention to the rear. So at this stage, we would just recommend installing the front of the Isotope into your pop top. There is still some of the black tabs to install in the rear, but like the front, I'd recommend using the fabric of the Isotope to measure where they should be, and it's a lot easier to do this if you have installed the front. There's several Velcro fastenings which latch through the eyelets at the front of the pop top, and there's also some wider plastic inserts which insert into the stitching on the pop top. You'll find this quite obvious and it's very clear where they need to go. We fitted the sides first before fixing the front. Once the front of the pop top's installed, we can move to the back of the van to install the final two tabs, and then we can fasten the Isotope all round to the Velcro fixing tape. And finally we move on to the two rear tabs. So at this point I've used the Isotope to measure where my two final black tabs need to be. I'm using two small laminated business cards. You can use anything that's laminated that's relatively slippy. First I insert one, then I get the tab and another card with the tab behind it and insert it up into the roof. The first one went in quite easily, and you can hold the tab in place and gently remove the cards one at a time, and the tab will be nice and firm. There we go, that's not going anywhere. Fantastic. At this point I fixed it up in one corner and applied some of the hook and eye tape, but not all. Finally I repeated on the other side using the same technique, and the Isotope is done and in place. And there's the finished Isotope. Now I will admit, if I did it again, the lessons learned, I could probably do an even nicer install, but I have to say the feeling inside the pop top is fantastic, and I have to admit I absolutely love this product. It's something I wish I had fitted a lot sooner. It really makes the pop top feel a lot cozier, and with the windows closed also nice and dark to help a good night's sleep. And for me it's great because it stops the heat from your heater dissipating through the canvas on those cold winter nights. So if you want to extend your camping range to all year round, then the Isotope may be the product for you. So one last recommendation if you do install an Isotope is, because the liner is internal, we recommend installing a Bellows Bungee just to make sure the canvas is out of the scissor mechanism. So thanks for watching the video. Have you installed an Isotope? Would you do something differently? Have you got any tips or advice for other viewers? Then we'd love to hear from you, so please either leave a comment below or visit the Volkswagen California Club forum and leave a comment there. I'll also be available to answer any questions, and we'll be happy to support anyone who's thinking about installing an Isotope. If you're interested, visit the club shop for more information. Thanks for watching and happy travels.